So I'll start with you, Mike. We were not necessarily expecting this. We knew you were stepping down. We knew you were looking around. What led you to Carl?
Well, I'm absolutely thrilled to hand the baton of leadership of this great company to Carl, who has a unique set of skills to lead AutoNation its next chapter. And I'm happy to say he has the unanimous support of the board and the unanimous support of our two largest shareholders, ESL and Cascade. He's an outstanding business leader. He has an ability to learn new industry. He's done retail at scale. He's a genius at supply chain logistics, and he's a master at building digital platforms, all of which are capabilities that we have to some extent in AutoNation, but there's a tremendous opportunity to take it to another whole level. And that's why I'm excited and thrilled to hand the baton to Carl.
So, Carl, congratulations. At the same time, you're coming after somebody who's had a pretty successful run, and there's particular challenges that come with that. What are you going to be focused on first and foremost as you come in?
Yeah, I think it's easy for me to say, as I follow in Mike's footsteps, is really kind of look to him as founder 2.0 and taking over the company from Wayne Huizenga and this great brand called AutoNation. I think first and foremost is really spending a lot of time in our stores with our 26,000 associates, engaging them in this idea of culture and where we're going. And that destination for us is to be the premier service leader in the auto industry as it pertains to how you engage with your vehicle, how you use your vehicle, and how you service that vehicle. And as I think about the power of having stores coast to coast, having a brand name like AutoNation, and the ability to think about our supply chain to support whether it's parts or collision, but along with how do we engage with our customers over the use of their vehicle from a data and a service capability. I'm truly excited because right now, over the next 5 to 7 years, this industry is going to see a dramatic transformation. But I know that our stores and how we serve our customers asset and how we shape that.
So, Mike, dramatic transformation, no question that's coming. You also announced earnings today, which were somewhat soft. I wonder how much you feel the pressure right now of these possible auto tariffs coming in. What could that do to your business if, in fact, the president went forward and imposed tariffs on autos from Europe?
Oh, we should be clear that auto tariffs are the nuclear weapons of trade. They'll make steel and aluminum look like a company picnic. And hopefully it never comes to that. It's all a matter of leverage, posturing, and brinksmanship. Because if auto tariffs at the dimension being discussed were to put in place, it would be devastating to the auto industry and extremely disruptive to every economy in the world, but particularly the United States and Europe. So hopefully that does not happen. I don't think it will. But it's going to be very dramatic, no question, over the next several months as this story unfolds. And there's always the possibilities that things spiral out of control and there's unintended things that happen. But at the end of the day, I think there'll be some sort of agreement.
Carl, one of the things you didn't have to deal with at USAA or at Home Depot were auto emissions issues, and some companies have had some real problems, real scandals in that area. We had that announcement from Ford yesterday that there's a problem with the way they calculate load on their auto emissions. As you take an initial look at that, how big a problem is that for Ford and potentially for your company?
Well, I think about this, David, is we have to be synonymous with trust. And when our customers purchase vehicles from us, that the vehicles they're purchasing and that we're going to service, that we stand behind that as well. And I think this is the opportunity that I've talked to Mike about and why he's so important in this transition is we have to be connected to the manufacturers in a much more robust way, because in so many ways the customer is going to form their, I'll call it their perception of trust on this collective partnership between OEMs and us as retailers. And so we have to get that right. And as I think about, 3+ years ago and some of the other scandals that went on with Volkswagen and others, that degrades what it means that customers have confidence in brands. And all those brands are influenced in the value chain. So I come back to is if we want to be synonymous with trust, there must be complete transparency transparency in that relationship from the manufacturers down to the service.
Mike, you've been in this business a long time. You know these companies really well. What does your gut tell you? How big a problem does Ford have?
Well, I think to put it on the Richter scale, Volkswagen was the big one. That was a fraud of regulators and customers that lasted year after year after year. And when something like that happens, a systemic failure, breakdown of trust, as Carl referred, then the regulators are going to put everything under the microscope. The tolerances that are allowed become much narrower, and the companies themselves go back and say this cannot happen to us and re-look at everything and call themselves out if there's something even marginally questionable. So I don't think it's anything comparable to what happened at Volkswagen, but everyone in the industry is taking the whole emission certification process dramatically seriously.